Good morning, Maricopa County. I did it right this time, Gil. Did you like that? It's Saturday, it's 9 a.m., you're on 960 The Patriot, and you've got the Straight Scoop, the radio show that does not give out debate questions in advance. No! We are fair and balanced, and that's not a Fox News thing. We're just fair and balanced in general. Well, we have a really big show today. Some things happened. We didn't know they were going to happen. We extended an olive leaf out to the campaign of one Adrian Fontes. We told him we will more than happily have him on the show as he pursues his lifelong dream of becoming county recorder of Maricopa County, that we would definitely have him on the show, provided he brought with us the following: 2 donuts of our choice, 2 bottles of Mexican Coca-Cola, a half a bottle of Maker's Mark, and and a red Solo cup. Gil, as the unbiased producer of this show, did the Fontes team deliver on our requirements?
He most certainly did.
You care to expand upon that? I mean, just Gil's famous for being a man of just a plethora of vocabulary here. So,
I'm not sure what I'm more impressed with, the Pepsi or the donuts. The donuts are great.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't Pepsi. It was Mexican Coca-Cola. So you're off to a bad start right out the gate. And the reason it's Mexican Coca-Cola is why, Gil?
Cane sugar.
Exactly. It has real sugar. None of that high fructose corn crap or nothing. So real sugar in there. And we asked for 2 donuts, and instead we got 2 dozen donuts. So you know what? I'm going to start doing this from now on. What's it called? Pay to play? I'm loving this, whatever this is. This is amazing. I'm way into this, Gil. What are your thoughts?
Your term is on point, but the donut thing is really good idea.
Okay. So all I can tell you is that we do have live in the studio the candidate, or one of the candidates, I should say, for Maricopa County Recorder, the one and only Adrian Fontes. We've lifted the ban from the Straight Scoop, and he's back.
I am so happy that you lifted that ban, Chad. I was feeling sort of dour. I was deep in the abyss of sadness because you wouldn't have me on the show. But I am very happy that my crew is also here with me. We've got Patrick from Salt and Lime Agency over here. It's already started.
Now, see, here's the thing. Now, I'm bringing this up. The reason he was banned from the show in the past was for coughing and for talking about college football too much. That is why he was banned, for full
Sun Devils
disclaimer.
are taking on the Buffs this afternoon. But anyway, I got Patrick. I'm a media guy from Salt and Lime here. And then in the engineering room, I've got Facebook Live going as well, so I'm going to flip this over. We've got Rob the Hype Man. Rob, stand up and show the world that you exist. There he is, Rob the Hype Man.
And there's Gil, the one and only Gil, the man flying the plane
hello
here. Yeah.
So we're actually on Facebook Live as well if you want to watch this. There's probably going to be some funky delay if they do that. But yeah, Chad, the reason that I'm here today, and I thank you very much, and I thank your audience, we can talk about some pretty serious issues regarding the county recorder's office and my candidacy, and I do appreciate it, all kidding aside.
Oh, we definitely will. There will be some kidding, but there will be some serious issues. So we've already I posted some stuff on Facebook for the show. We've already got some questions, although I like the live questions better. So I am going to ask him the questions of those of you who posted on Facebook. But if you want to talk to Adrian, ask him a question live on air, I suggest you call in now. Because the phone lines will be full. So call now, make sure your question gets heard. The call-in number to the station is 602-508-0960. Once again, 602-508-0960. And as Hugh Hewitt says one final time for all you Pittsburgh Steelers fans, 602-508-0960. So we're going to go ahead and play the highlights of last week's show to knock that out of the way, so Jeremy won't cry about it if we don't play it. And then we will jump right into your questions to candidate for County Recorder Adrian Fontes. So for those of you listening to the show for the first time, shame on you, but you're here now, and so you can listen forevermore. But we always play the highlights of last week's show to show you, if you didn't listen, what you missed, or if you did listen, a nice walk down memory lane. So Gil, play us the highlights of last week's show.
Hello and welcome to the Straight Scoop recap of the week, Do It Live edition. Now, a lot of people wonder, is the Straight Scoop pre-recorded? No chance of that. Chadwick is here every morning, and he tried to prove that fact last week with his state-of-the-art sound effects. Wah, wah, wah.
And to prove that that's not a pre-recorded thing, I'll do it this time for only 1 second. And now I'll do it for 3 seconds. So see, that proves it's live. Only the best live sound effects on the Straight Scoop. We don't mess with this pre-recorded crap. We do it live and in
So
studio.
folks on Facebook Live right now, they're doing this goofy thing that they do, and you can't hear it, so we're really sorry. But if you get on 960 AM, you'll be able to hear all the stuff.
I get nothing for that.
Bill O'Reilly's yelling at my ear right now or some
It
nonsense.
is
So.
live. I'm the best editor
Through
on the
here?
fly ever.
No, here, watch this. Ready?
No, my Facebook Live audience is getting just out of there.
They're not piping it out of there.
We're not piping it out of here.
Okay, then that's fine.
This is low-tech Facebook Live.
It's almost done. What are the odds of
Yeah,
that making their
so,
recap?
okay.
Probably pretty high, right?
Apologies
I'd like to apologize
out
to all
there.
of you for just taking 2 minutes away from your life that you will never, ever get back. You're welcome.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Do it live.
Thing sucks!
Sucks is a little harsh. I thought it was a pretty good show. But
Bill
everybody's
O'Reilly,
got
man.
their own opinion.
That's
A lot of
nuts.
people have the opinion that Harley Quinn's a girl, when I know for a fact he's a dude. Well, not for a fact, but Evil Betty told me. No, she didn't. But you can imagine, right?
It's almost funny.
No? Why would you want to
All
imagine
this going
that?
on
You know
here.
what? Just listen to Chad and Harley do it live,
All right, here we go.
and that didn't come out right.
Okay, Gil, you ready? This film is a beast. Off the chain. This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for fighting. This is for fun. You got to know when to hold 'em. I know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away. And know when to run. Giving it an 11. Yeah, I said an 11 out of 10.
My movie
In the
reviewer.
movie, do they call it DP?
Oh,
Because it's really
so they're doing a
BP,
movie review now.
British Petroleum.
It's just
I
part of
said
the show.
oh, I said that
And
wrong.
so there's going to be some dead time here. Apologies ahead of time. But the whole show is, you're like in studio. So if you were in the studio and you didn't have these on, what you're hearing now is what you would hear. So anyway, thanks for the vote. Mildred, thank you very much. Get Corey's on. All right, he's a good lawyer.
Here we go. Grab your glove. We got DP to work on. Gil, I don't even know where to begin on that, because that was, as the Australian friends tell us, that was a train wreck. That is the
Gargling was
most
good.
random, weird, bizarre thing Jeremy ever produced.
I like the gargling though. That was good.
Well, okay, just whatever. Like, that gets one of these. Yeah. Okay, so we're diving in now. For those of you who just joined us, or those of you who haven't been paying attention, or those of you who are still hungover, we do have with us live in studio Adrian Fontes, candidate for Maricopa County Recorder. Now, I posted he was going to be on the show. We've had questions about it, whatnot. Adrian Fontes doesn't like to toot his own horn, which is a giant lie. But he is a former U.S. Marine. He is an attorney. He supposedly has more than 10 years of experience in criminal prosecution, law enforcement, constitutional rights, blah, blah, blah. He graduated from some unknown school called Arizona State University. He couldn't make.
School. You just got a lot of Sun Devils listening.
Well, you couldn't make it as a lumberjack, is what I heard.
Oh,
so
I see. My mom is a lumberjack.
see, exactly, and they wouldn't let
How
you in.
often do you hear people say that with pride?
That is hilarious.
My mom is a lumberjack.
So, and I do know that Adrian actually, you didn't put this in your official bio, but you even have taught law before as well, correct?
Yes, I've taught some classes in law school, and I currently teach some constitutional law classes over at Phoenix College.
Okay, so as far as the county recorder position goes, we've got a guy who's an attorney, teaches law, all about the Constitution, a lot of experience as far as that goes. So I'm loving this idea, this concept, if you will. So we've already have some questions that came in on Facebook. So you just want to dive right in, or Counselor, would you like to make an opening statement?
Well, I'd like to make a very brief opening statement. Early voting in person has already begun. So we know that the ballots started getting mailed out, I should say. Not all of them.
Are you sure they got mailed?
Well, no.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that one. I couldn't resist that one.
Given the way the office is being run right now, your levity is falls on not deaf ears. But here's the thing. So the early voting, the PEVL ballots, which is the permanent early voter list ballots, have gone out. They started going out on Wednesday. They continue to print those and mail those out through the course of this past week. I understand that it's probably about Tuesday or Wednesday. If you don't get those, you need to call the county recorder's office at 602-506-1511 is that number. That's 506-1511. They should be hitting your mailboxes through the course of this week and into very early next week. Get those taken care of early on so we can make sure that folks are getting their stuff counted. But in-person early voting has already begun, and we're on Facebook Live. One of our folks that's watching there had actually made sure, got me to make sure to mention that. So the selection is already underway.
Okay. Well, in this segment here, this is one of the short segments, but we have a full show here. But in this segment, we got about 2.5 minutes, so I think it's about a good time to challenge this question. I like this question.
Let's get to it.
So your critics will say that what's gone on in the county recorder's office is really not that bad. That Helen Purcell, there's a little mix-up here or there. It's really not that bad. She's been in there a long time. Response.
They're wrong. Those critics are absolutely flat out wrong. You know, when you have, and some estimates say it was 130,000 American citizens who weren't able to vote on March 22nd for the PPE. You tell me if 130,000 American citizens being denied their fundamental right to vote is not that bad. I'll tell you, somebody who doesn't understand what a fundamental constitutional right is.
Forget 130,000. In my mind, 130 is horrible.
Well,
not allowed to vote.
One
being not allowed to vote is
right.
ridiculous.
You always have to look out for these things. And so the critics are saying that's not that bad. They're also not aware of a whole host of other problems that I'm sure we're going to get into that have been happening because of this particular administration, stretching back literally decades. Chad, there was a decision made by Helen Purcell 20 years ago that resulted in some significant problems for tons of people here in Maricopa County.
Okay.
That was a teaser. Do you want to know what it
No,
was?
that was. Well, I don't know. We have a minute left, so I mean, if you don't want to
right.
dive into it, don't. But I will say that I do agree with you 100% on the fact of that people having the ability to vote is so critical.
You know, and it was that, and going back to that PPE day, it wasn't just the fact that people had to stand in line. You know, there were tens of thousands of people who drove up and saw the lines and were dissuaded. You know, these are folks that might be working 2 jobs. They might have only gotten 45 minutes to vote off of their job. They might have, you know, kids that they got to get ready for school the next day. There might be a whole host of reasons why they were turned away. But the fact that they were turned away, either because they couldn't vote or they didn't have the right information given to them, this is a problem that goes beyond just an inconvenience. You know, for folks that couldn't afford to stand in line, that's a poll tax, Chad. And I thought the era of Jim Crow was over, but apparently not in Maricopa County.
Well, heidi ho. I'm liking where this is going. All right, so we're here with Adrian Fontes. Get your call in now, 602-508-0960. We're going to a break, so now's the perfect time to call, 602-508-0960, and we will see you in 2 seconds.
The Seth Leibson Show, where it's
2 seconds?
I always say stupid stuff. People love it. This was the first time ever I said good morning, Maricopa County. I usually say good morning, Butte, Montana, like a different city around the world to confuse people.
Tell Facebook that.
Good morning, Tokyo.
What's up? Is that all you need to know? I'm going to ask, hey, Gil, is there a way, and this just thinking about this, what if we take the feed from here and put it into his Facebook Live, and then he would hear everything? Is that possible? Do you know? Instead of using a mic, it would be like, okay, so instead of him having the mic from there, we plug in the audio from this like it's an external mic, and then they would hear everything.
The problem is
I can actually hear both you guys just fine.
No, but then they would hear the pre-produced stuff. He said they don't hear
instead
that.
of the offline stuff.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
hearing the commercials.
But if you just had a cord that would go into there as a mic input, then they would hear everything. Everything.
Right, but this way,
You get to
first
talk
of all-
off the air, but then all you'd have to do is unplug that and say blah 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 off the air. When you go back on the air, plug it back in.
But I don't know if that would like switch over or switch it off.
It should. It's
It's
a
an
mic
iPhone,
input.
man.
I'm just telling you that would work. But if you don't want to do that,
So
then
hey,
it's fine.
Facebook Live.
We don't really have
on
much
there.
more
Let's
pre-recorded
see.
stuff anyway. So
Tony John, Tim Zahn, how you doing? Chatham Zahn, Ballbeer, how are you? Ben
Bye.
Graff. Okay.
I got 2.5
You understand? We got a couple of people on. I'm scrolling through to see who's on. I know you guys are kind of looking up my notes. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're Facebook Live here, 960 AM, The Patriot. A buddy of mine's got a show. His name's Chad Burks. He's the guy in the weird kitty rainbow thing that he's wearing. And we're talking about our candidacy and so on and so forth. Let's see. Andrew James says, we had to find polling locations pretty far from our homes, which only had like an hour wait. My father and brother ended up not voting. Right, Andrew, that's a problem. Folks need, you know, those sorts of things have been happening, and that's not going to happen after November the 8th. So, again, like I mentioned just a moment ago on the air, Thank you, Catherine. Very kind of you. Like we mentioned on the air just a moment ago, early voting has already started, and so we're already getting into the process of having folks come out to polling stations around the valley to do this voting thing. You should be getting your ballots, like I indicated earlier, in the mail if you're on the permanent early voting list, and so we're trying to make sure that folks understand that and get in and vote early. So again, for folks just joining in, we're on live Facebook. We're also on this radio program here, The Straight Scoop with Chadwick Burks on 960 AM. The phone number, if you want to call in, do we have callers waiting? Is 508. 508-0960, 508-0960. Rob the Hype Man is here. He's my hype man. He brought some stuff and he's hanging out. Every good campaign needs a hype man. Did you give me a bam?
That was it.
That was the bam.
It's early.
Yeah. Rob's rocking the dad bod like it's nobody's business nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. Here, let's go to Rob the Hype Man.
The dad bod.
The dad bod, I guess.
The dad jeans.
We're just having a good time on Saturday morning. Yeah, he's got the dad jeans on too. Are you gonna hit one of those? Oh, and Donut Parlor, we haven't shouted out yet, but let me show you guys. We had to bring in donuts, or Chad wouldn't have put us on the air. That's the box of donuts right there.
I got 20 seconds, Gil, or I got a minute? 20 seconds? All right, 20 seconds.
So we're gonna wrap this. Rob, you want to get that door, please?
You want to keep it
You can leave it open.
Oh, okay.
That way it'll be cooler in here.
Okay, so we're
No one's coming in. We locked the outer.
back on the air.
BlackBerry or smartphone, download
All right, here we go.
the Patriot app for your phone. Just go to your app store or log on to 960thepatriot.com today.
You know, being a world-famous record producer isn't easy.
It's urine.
It's taxing. It's tiring. It must be done to bring joy and happiness to this dark and dreary world. Anyway, I knew I needed something new and exciting for my next project. So I called Chadwick Burks with People's Mortgage. Did a cash-out refinance on my multi-million-dollar home, and I used the money to buy 4,782 cowbells. I think the results speak for themselves. So call this guy. Unlike you, he knows what he's doing. Now back to the show that never fears the cowbell. Straight Scoop and Chadwick Burks.
They will tomorrow.
960 The Patriot. You're back on The Straight Scoop. I am your host, Chadwick Burks. And I will tell this to all of Adrian Fontez's buddies that are on Facebook Live and all of this. We have this cool, unique thing that's more advanced than Adrian's phone, and it's called a podcast. So you're missing all of the really smart alecky stuff because it's pre-recorded. We're going to release the podcast on this within minutes of the show being over.
Minutes.
Within minutes, literally. So what you need to do is we'll give you the info, go listen to the podcast, and see all the cool stuff that you missed. There you go. If you don't like that, then I don't know what to tell you. All right, so we are here with Adrian Fontes. He's a candidate for Maricopa County Recorder, running against Helen Purcell. And I have made the extension to the Purcell folks. If they want to come on the air, they want to do anything like that, you know, fair and balanced, equal opportunity. Adrian just handed me a flyer where he looks very scary on the inside of it. The outside, he's all nice and smiley. On the inside, it looks like a Soviet-era poster. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to express.
It's a Tarantino era, but Patrick designed this.
I opened it up and I got scared. Oh, I better vote for this guy or he's going to come kill my family. I'm like, okay. It's beautiful.
It's a great flight. It's interactive.
It's interactive, all right. I just peed my pants when I looked at it.
Let me read it says here from the Arizona Republic, there are many times when the mismanagement of government is so egregious that it must be met with powerful criticism. This is one of those moments.
Well, so that was from the Arizona Republic.
Arizona Republic. It's right
Wow.
on the inside here.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what. The idea that it's so egregious goes back, like I was saying, 20 years. Now, in 1996, Helen Purcell was quoted as having said that she felt like redacting Social Security numbers from filings in the recording side of the recorder's office was inconvenient. And so they stopped redacting them. Now, you're a mortgage guy. You know what goes into these documents.
Oh, huge, yeah.
There were checks being filed with routing numbers and account numbers on them, not redacted. There were death certificates being filed with mothers' maiden names and addresses on them, not redacted. For 10 years, Maricopa County suffered some of the biggest percentage of identity theft incidences in the western United States. 1 in 6 adults in Maricopa County were victims of identity theft because of that decision. It took the Federal Trade Commission and the Phoenix Police Department to come forward and to tell Helen Purcell, you have to do your job. You got to redact these things. And it wasn't until 2 years later that they finally instituted a complete protocol to make sure these things happen. That's 12 years worth of people losing their information at the hands of this county recorder.
Now I may not be a smart man, but it seems to me common sense is telling me right now that Arizona, one of the highest places in the world for identity theft, possible correlation is that we published everyone's private information in the public record online.
There is no possible correlation,
do you
Chad. It's not possible.
do you think? I mean, do you think that there's going to be identity theft if you put all of your sensitive information online for the world to find?
And again, the Phoenix Police Department, one of the detectives was quoting us having said it is absolutely a correlation between the two. There's no possible about it.
Yeah, it has to be.
And this is a person, after getting complaint after complaint after complaint, Ms. Purcell, took her 10 years to correct this mess. Now, a lot of people really like Helen Purcell. She's a nice lady. I've met her myself. I think she's a fine person, right? Except for the fact that she caused 1 in 6 Maricopa County adults to be victims of identity theft. She caused 130,000 U.S. citizens not to be able to vote at the PPE. And we can go on and on with the problems that have happened in her office if you'd like me to.
Yeah, well, I'm a math guy, so you probably will have the answer to this. I don't know the exact statistics or what have you. I'm sure that you probably do. I know from being at the radio station, I hear our news department talk about things all the time. And there's been numerous times to where they've said X number of books were sent out incorrectly. They had to send out another 200,000 books describing the initiatives. They had to send out another 500,000 books to these folks because it was Spanish only. I've heard that story again and again and again. So the first thing I think is, how much did that cost the taxpayers to have to reprint and resend the same crap over and over and over and over again?
Well, the cumulative number is enormous, but let's just narrow it down to one particular incident. And this is an incident that occurred after the debacle of March 22nd. Actually, immediately following it, we had a special election in May, right? Proposition 123, 124. Everybody remembers this one. There was a misprint on the ballot itself where part of 124, the title for the ballot initiative 124 was listed as identically the same as the title for ballot initiative 123.
Oh, boy.
And it cost over $400,000 for that one special election. This wasn't a primary, a general, a PPE. For that one special election, over $400,000, and all they did was send out one postcard. Now, here's the point to this, and here's why that's so bad. This was the only county in the state. This was a statewide special election.
Gotcha.
There are 15 counties in Arizona, all right? There are at least 15 different elections departments in the counties, right? There was an email that was sent out in February from the Attorney General's office to the Secretary of State's office with the exact correct language in English and in Spanish, certified by Brnovich's AG's office. That email went to the Secretary of State. And what did the Secretary of State do? They forwarded it, the exact same email with the exact same certified language, to every single county recorder in the state.
Okay.
Santa Cruz County, Graham County, Cochise
All of
County.
them.
All of them, right? Including Maricopa County. Only one county recorder screwed it up. Only one county recorder failed to cut and paste the exact certified language on that from that exact same email. Now, I'm not saying that that Helen Purcell, that human being, was the person who screwed it up.
Right. It was just her office.
But you know what?
But she's the captain of that ship, man.
Where does the buck stop?
Exactly.
Right? We're talking about personal responsibility. We're talking about accountability for public officials. We're talking about integrity in our election systems. We're talking about American citizens believing that paper-pushing nerd office, right? Because that's what the county recorder is.
Oh, you'd be so great at it because you're such a nerd.
Thank you. I thought it was Patrick. My hype man keeps telling me I'm a cool guy.
Well,
Rob,
yeah. Yeah,
Rob's
yeah.
lying. Anyway, we got to believe. We got to bring some trust back into this system. And you know what? You and I disagree on one or two things, Chad.
This is true.
Maybe three.
17.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what we don't disagree on is this. We should be able to trust our election system. We should be able to trust the administrator of our elections, that they're going to call balls and strikes, that they're going to give the correct information the first time, and you're going to get information regarding the time, place, and manner of your elections. That's what we should have. And so that's why I'm running, because we just don't have that right now. And if you can't get it right after 7 terms, but it's time to change office.
All right, well, we're here with Adrian Fontes, candidate for county recorder. We will be back shortly. We'll have a little bit of Corky's Corner. We're going to start taking your calls, 602-508-0960, 602-508-0960. You got 4 minutes, so get on it. All right, clear. I really do have 4 minutes. That was confusing. You have 4 minutes.
Four full minutes? Can I eat a donut in that time?
Do whatever you want. You got 4
All right,
minutes.
so
I
I
don't care what you
got
do.
thanks everybody who's watching. Let's see, I got a couple of...
Tell your Facebook guys if they want to call. Tell them to call in with a question. Tell them right now. Call in with a question.
Call in with a question.
602-508-0960.
Rob the Hydra's going to help pump the number right here.
It's right over your shoulder.
Is this going to be backwards for them?
602-508-0960.
It might be
Toll free,
backward on
888-960.
Is it showing up?
I'll post a picture.
Okay, we're going to post a picture.
Tell them call right now. 602-508-0960.
Okay, now that we're all talking over each other. 602-508-0960. Shane, call in. Marie, let's see. I hope you win or your compensation is the 6th largest metropolis, completely outrageous. Shame on our whole system. Thank you for your support. I don't disagree. We're going to walk around a little bit, show you guys a little bit of the studio because you don't really get to see it too much. So there's Patrick. He's got his camera going. He's going to be posting a photo of the phone number to call in. We're in this. This is Chad's seat over here. We have the donuts from Parlor Donuts in Tempe right here. They are delicious and nutritious. And is this which one's that?
It's just pure sugar.
Pure sugar goodness.
Exactly what it tastes like.
I'm probably gonna hit one of those jellies in a minute.
Sugar flavors.
We had one on here that looked like it had some kind of breakfast cereal on it, but that's not.
Oh, it's Trix or Fruity Pebbles.
Myself guiding you through it. Advertising on The Straight Scoop is a no-brainer for realtors and a dream opportunity for any business to gain truly affordable exposure on a popular show. So give me a buzz and I'll go through all the details about your mortgage or advertising. But be sure to talk to only me, no one else, in order to get the best deal. 623-703-4568, 623-703-4568, or straightscoopradio.com, straightscoopradio.com.
The Seth Leibson Show, where it's principles, not politics.
The left has no problem with language of good and evil when it comes to fellow Americans who aren't enlightened. That is to say, fellow Americans who aren't liberals or Democrats. That is just fine. That is where you will hear them talk about the word extremist. That is where you will hear them talk about the word radical. That is where you will hear them use superlatives. You want a superlative?
You know, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's funny that the
So we've got probably another couple minutes. That we're going to
Numbers posted on the page.
Okay, so we've got the phone number is posted on the page now. Again, it's 602-508-0960.
Question or comments.
Questions or comments are welcome. 602-908-09. Oh, I'm sorry, 508.
The fall of
I'm
man
gonna screw this whole thing
comes
up.
only after.
Think about 960 the Patriot.
Yeah,
So
0960. It's the 508.
6 to 8 p.m.
508-0960.
This is Larry Elder from the
There you go.
Radio Network. It's an
This
article
Coca-Cola
of
is
faith
Yeah, we got
that
1 minute.
Obama needs a Hillary Clinton win.
1 minute till Corky, right?
I always think it's really fun to be, well, especially Chad's show. Chad's show is a lot of fun. Yeah, there you go. 508-0960. Thank you, Andrew, for punching that in. You call in with a question or a comment or something like that.
Higher copays, higher deductibles, higher premiums.
Andy Wimmer's also posting it. Thank you, folks, for posting up. Appreciate it. We'll be back on the air in a couple minutes. And like I said, like Chad said, the podcast is going to be up after the show's over.
Like 5 minutes after. All right, you need to put your headphones on.
Okay. Willing to continue Obama's
Now, what you're about to hear is my political guy that does a thing. By pure coincidence, it is about you. He didn't even know you're going to be on the show because he does it on Mondays.
Really?
Swear to God, you'll hear it right now.
Oh, so you guys will hear this on the podcast.
It's amazing too.
So much.
So it should be fun.
Obama's
It's way fun.
I'm Larry O.
And now, the man, the myth, the legend, Corky.
Boy, just when you thought this political season couldn't get any wackier, they set the bar higher.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
This last debate was like a prize fight. I invited my friends over, had the carpets cleaned, fried up some sausage and peppers, even got some cannolis.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
You know, speaking of the gun, you gotta say Donald Trump is like a Marine sniper. He keeps shooting himself in the foot with remarkable accuracy. I think he has more confirmed kills than Chris Kyle. You know, there's only 24 days left till we pull the levers to decide who we want to handle the most important job in the world. Who gets to pardon that fat Thanksgiving Day burn in 2017? Stay stewed. I don't think this one is over by a long shot. Now, turning our gaze to the local politics. In this corner, weighing in at an enormous 600 to 700 voters in line, with an estimated reach of 3 to 5 hours to the ballot box, it's our incumbent county recorder, Helen Heaven Can Wait Purcell.
We can do this one of two ways. I can bust your balls to pieces right now, or we can spread it out over the course of the day.
And in this corner, our challenger, the angular one, an accomplished counselor, slaying Goliath as your David, a Marine Corps vet who's
mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Adrian, I'm gonna kick your Fontes. Now, Kit, what do you have up your sleeve to send this recorder, who couldn't record Sgt. Pepper's if she had a toque and some headphones, packing?
Look, I'm a former United States Marine.
He said, Kapooyah! Kapooyah!
Don't hold back.
And my vote should count, and your vote should be counted.
Now, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong is looking to take down the young upstart.
You'll be hearing from my lawyer!
So like my pal Seth Leibson says, voting should not take as long as his smoked pork butt.
I would like to talk to you about Wiener Schnitzel. Could you do that tonight? Because I have some friends coming over. I want to show off a little bit.
Better get out and put this Fontes kid in the driver's seat. Otherwise, your vote goes the way of the dinosaur. This is Corky, and you just got the straight scoop.
All right, well, there we have it. Like I said, this was purely coincidental. Corky does this all the time. Those of you who listen to the show all the time.
Angular one?
I didn't get that one either, the angular one. What exactly is that supposed to mean?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. That was a piece of political commentary magic right there. I'm bummed that the Facebook Live people couldn't hear it.
Well, we can just post separately as its own separate chunk. That's an independent chunk.
That was the angular one. Nobody's ever I've been described as leonine.
Is that kind of potatoes, the lionized potatoes you get when you're over at Fleming's?
It might be leonine. Can I get a hype man comment on that? Is it leonine or leonine? I've never been described as the angular one.
I love that. I'm not sure what that was either, but for those of you who are listening now, Corky does these commentaries every month, or every show, I mean, and you hear him. He does it early in the week. I don't even hear them until they get played the day of the show. So by pure coincidence, he does one promoting Adrian, and then Adrian ends up on the show today. So I think that's hilarious.
I think it's pretty good. But let's yeah.
Is there anything that was said in that piece there that you would like to expand or expound upon or refute?
No, I think it should stand on its own merits.
On its own merits.
And I honestly, Patrick, did you hear that thing?
It was absolutely hilarious.
It was enjoyable. I will say this though, folks: in-person early voting has already started. We are in the election season now, and you can find those locations online. There are several around the valley. Interestingly, though, 6 out of the 9, Chadwick, I don't know if you know this, 6 out of the 9 early voting stations that are open beyond normal 8 to 5 business hours are in very, very heavily Republican districts.
Interesting.
6 out of the 9.
See, I'm very glad that you mentioned this because this is going to catapult exactly onto one of the questions that we're in on Facebook.
And you know who set those early voting places up?
I can guess. I would guess it would be the county recorder's office.
That it would be.
Okay. Well, that's a perfect segue, which sometimes serendipity just happens. It just falls into place. Because I was about to ask you a question exactly like this, okay? So that's the first thing we're going to tackle in the next segment. So you guys stick around. You've got 4 minutes, and then we got a big, long 15-minute segment. Put in your call, 602-508-0960, because we're tackling all that in 4 minutes. All right, 4 minutes, and then the long
Somebody
segment.
says, Lisa Shoop says, I can't wait to hear the podcast. Lisa, I will tell you what. I can't wait to hear the podcast either. Because I'm gonna see if Patrick can line up the podcast audio with that.
Oh, it's all on.
It's all there.
Oh, is it?
Everything everybody's turned on the
okay,
air.
because my reaction,
Spiked into
I
this.
can imagine that that was crazy, man. I never heard that before.
Yeah, I'm beaming what's on the actual radio.
Corky,
for that.
and he's just a fan of the show. He's just a fan of the show that sent me stuff, and it was like good. And I said, "You want to do this every week?" He said, "Yeah." And so he just does.
So he just does political commentary.
Yeah, he's a fan of the show. He doesn't live here. He lives in California and has a vacation house here.
Oh, so I want to take a minute
You
here.
guys have a hashtag?
Chad.
Yeah, hashtag.
So Chad is the host of the Straight Scoop here. He's an old buddy of mine, and he has a really ugly shirt on today.
You said he liked my shirt.
I like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. It's ugly.
It's
but
missing cats on the back. That's the only problem.
No cat back.
Yeah.
Cats on the front, but not. Well, anyway, Chad, talk to them a little bit about what you do during the week.
I'm also a finance guy. I do mostly mortgages. So if you have any mortgage needs, definitely give me a call. Check me out. It's super easy to remember. Help.loans is my website.
Help.loans?
Yeah, there's no .com or nothing. Just help.loans. But any kind of purchases, refinances I can do. Get me while you can because this show's doing so well, and I'm launching a second show that I probably won't be doing mortgages too much longer. So get me while you can. Yeah, really.
Really? Your show's doing that?
I have a show that's going to be going on Adam Carolla's network in like 4 months.
Nice.
Is that public information now?
Not really. But it's going to be. It
is now.
It's going to be uncensored.
Uncensored?
Comedy uncensored.
Well, I won't be showing up on that one while I'm But anyway, listen. So we are kind of on one of those breaks in between here. If anybody hasn't, I'm going to wheel through real quick.
2 minutes.
Let's see. It was readable. So I wrote that backwards. Oh, was it backwards? The one that I showed like this?
I don't know. The one that I posted
I
wasn't.
actually wrote this in backwards handwriting. So if you read this, that's my regular crappy handwriting. There will be. And then I wrote that pre-recorded stuff. As I see it on this screen, that's correct on that screen. But that's actually backwards for me as I look at it this way. Because I can do that.
If they want to call, tell them to call. We got two calls lined up already, so they need to get in there.
Well, we got 2 calls lined up right now. 508-0960 Facebook Live.
It's in the order they call, so.
It's in the order you call.
Get on it.
602-508-0960. We're live on 960 AM, The Patriot, right here in Phoenix, Saturday morning. Thanks to everybody who has tuned in and who is tuning in. We're going to get on with some callers right away.
Yep. 1 minute. We're back in 1 minute.
That other thing that we were going to do. Okay. So.
I'll address that after your call. Okay. I don't know what the call content is. Did he say, Gil, what the call content is? No. Okay. Shane from Phoenix is who it is.
Shane?
Who knows?
Well, we'll see.
Gil, why the hell is there a full-size turkey in our freezer back there?
You have a full-size turkey in the freezer?
Yeah, and there's 2 big giant bags of like ceviche or something in there too.
As an alarm clock. Open the app, click in the upper right-hand corner,
All right,
and
here we go.
select Alarm Clock. It's that easy. And now you wake up to the Patriot. Download the Patriot app at your app store today.
Pay attention, pay attention. I'm British, so you know this must be serious. If you enjoy this radio program, it is your utmost responsibility to support it. Just because
I'm actually going to start
free
listening to this station
automobile
because
or
this is
computer
funny.
doesn't mean you get to stiff Chadwick and take advantage of his kind nature. No, you need to get Chadwick to handle your purchase or refinance mortgage personally. It is the least you can do to thank him for all his brilliance and such. You may reach him via telephone at 623-703-4568. An automated voice recording system will archive your information for him to review at a later hour. Being a gentleman, he respects Sundays. So let him know if you'd like to speak today or Monday. 623-703-4568. 623-703-4568. And now, back to the man who never freeloads. Unlike some other people I know. Chadwick Burks and the Straight Scoop.
.960 The Patriot, you are back on the Straight Scoop. I'm your host, Chadwick Burks. We are here with Adrian Fontes, candidate for Maricopa County Recorder. And that really awesome ELO guitar riff reminded me of the fact that you actually play guitar and sing. I've heard you and seen you. I have.
I do, and I'll tell you what, the New Times very recently named my mariachi as the best of Phoenix. If you look at the New Times guide, best
Holy
of
smokes.
Phoenix,
Holy
mariachi
cow.
at Grand Avenue. And I tell you what, I will say on the air right now, on behalf of all of the members of Mariachi at Grand Avenue, we did not deserve that. We think that the mariachi band that got Best Girl Band, which is called Mariachi Pasión, they're far better than we are as far as mariachis go. So for those of you that are out there in looking around, Mariachi Pasión, top notch.
All right, well, there we go. And since we're also talking about top notch, I have to give a shout out to Donut Parlor. So you guys, you came through, you brought the donuts. Donut Parlor in Tempe, and dude, let me tell you, these are gourmet donuts to the highest level. There's a Fruity Pebbles donut in there. I'm not kidding. A Cinnamon Toast Crunch donut, blueberry cake, chocolate cake, like everything you could ever fathom. Fritters, the whole 9 yards. They're amazing. They're good. They're not paying me to say this. I'm saying it because they're good, because I just ate one. I'm like, holy cow, that's amazing. And they're in Tempe, 1245 West Elliott Road is what it says on the box. 1245 West Elliott Road, Tempe. Go to Donut Parlor. You can find them on Facebook.
They're really good.
Donut Parlor on Facebook.
I had a bite of one just now.
I saw the Fruity Pebbles. I'm like, no way. And I tried it. I'm like,
There's another
holy
one
cow,
that,
they're
like,
great.
Cinnamon
Toast Crunch. Oh, they're just amazing.
There's like a blueberry one and
All right, well, we got to dive in now because we have
All right, let's do
callers.
some
We have callers, and then I have 2 questions from Facebook too. So, all right, so Shane from Phoenix, you have a question for Counselor Fontes.
Great. Thanks for taking my call today. It's a
No
honor
problem.
caller.
Thanks for calling. So, fire away, buddy.
So, Adrian, I'd love to hear a little bit about what your long-term and your short-term goals if you should get elected to start working on the office of a recorder. A lot of their problems are just a lot deeper than just pure elections. My wife works with the recorder's office all the time. She says it's one of the worst experiences that she daily has. So I just want to hear a little bit about what you're thinking.
Well, I'll tell you what, the change of leadership at the top of an organization usually comes with a change of attitude, and that's one of the most important things that we're going to be looking at. Shane, we've got first and foremost, I want to bring in a new attitude, and it's going to be the attitude that changes not only the election side of the office, but the recording side of the office. And the attitude is this: it's going to be that of servant leadership. Look, public officials are supposed to serve the public. And in this particular office, we're dealing with the 2 of the most fundamental rights, the only 2 things that every single one of the founders had in common. They were property owners and they were voters. And so when it comes to your property and the way you get treated when you deal with the recording side of the recorder's office, we really need to improve a lot of the systems and circumstances there. This is one of the short-term goals. Yes, for short-term and long-term as well. Also on the election side, that change of attitude of becoming voter-centric as opposed to being office-centric, okay? So working hard to make sure that we get all of the right information out to voters, working hard that every eligible American citizen voter has their fundamental rights preserved, that's going to be important, and that's not the attitude of the office right now. The current attitude of the office is, well, if the voters don't know, screw them, and I don't like that. I really don't, because I think this office is supposed to be providing a service. And so that is one of the main short-term goals. The other short-term goal is to turn the office into a party-neutral office, i.e., if there's a re-election, and if I decide to run for re-election after becoming the county recorder, I wouldn't be able to run as a Democrat. I would just run as me, and you would judge me on my merits, not on my party. And as far as the other short-term goal is, I really want to improve the kids voting program that has basically withered on the vine, because getting our kids voting and getting their parents, by virtue of that peer pressure, into registering and voting, that's going to be the crux of moving our democracy forward for the long term.
Now, I have to jump in here because you kind of the same, along the same lines. This is one of the Facebook questions. You just touched on it, so I will expand upon it. We'll knock that out too. For those of you who don't know, there is a D besides Adrian's name when you look at that ballot, the D for Democrat, right? Now, don't let that frighten you. Don't let that scare you. I'm just telling you it's out there. And so, in my mind, Chadwick Burks, with People's Mortgage, my opinion on it is, for the county recorder's office, your political party is completely 1,000% irrelevant. It means nothing. So, since you kind of touched upon that, someone from Facebook, Philip, posted a question in Facebook asking, would you use your partisan affiliation to increase voter registrations for your party only? And I don't even see how that would even be possible, but I'm going to let you touch on that.
Well, first of all, American citizens are American citizens. Their choice of political party is their choice, not mine. Never will it be mine. When I served in the United States Marine Corps, I served this entire nation. I served the Constitution. I didn't serve a political party. As an attorney, I'm sworn to uphold and protect not only the Constitution and the rules of the court, but to advocate for my client. And partisan politics never comes into that. You know, there's folks out there who I've had late night discussions with, and who we've had some banter with here and there, that can get partisan at times. But the reality is this: that is sport compared to this fundamental right. This office doesn't have anything to do with setting policy regarding the Second Amendment, regarding choice, regarding taxation, regarding who's going to pave which roads first, regarding any of these issues, foreign policy issues or whatnot. This office is about a fundamental right that we all share as Americans. It is the one office that we should all work together in without partisanship. And I am absolutely drawing a bright line where a lot of people think that because I'm Latino and because I have a D behind my name, I might be wanting illegal aliens to vote. I can tell you right now, that's just stupid, because not only is it unconstitutional and illegal, but it's a ridiculous claim, okay? I'll tell you what, my story, my grandfather became a United States citizen because he served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. And when he was born, his folks lived in Tucson, Arizona, which was a state by then. This was 1920. They traveled south so that he could have Mexican citizenship. And I have no idea why. I never asked him. I mean, you're chuckling, Chad. I chuckle, too, because I don't know why. He would have been born in Tucson. It wouldn't have mattered. So these ideas about me advocating for some crazy political conspiracy are insane. They have no place in reality, and I'm giving them too much credit by even talking about them, frankly.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So, but then what I have to ask you about then is you pretty much nailed that. So the party affiliation means basically nothing. You did mention that ideally you would like to run for re-election as just Adrian Fontes, because it's such a party neutral type office that it really doesn't matter.
It's a ministerial office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we nailed that one. All right, we do have another caller. We've got Debbie from Tempe. Debbie, you have the counselor on. Fire away.
Hey, counselor. Adrian, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I went to Tom Purcell's office one time, and I called, and they don't seem to have any kind of computer system to find me. I had a question about it, because I get a mail ballot, but they just couldn't find me. They tried to, and then laughed, and they took all my information, but they couldn't find me. Do you have a better computer or some kind of system that they're not just going to laugh at you? And are you going to update the computer system, or is it just the people
Debbie,
at the office?
Debbie, I'll tell you what, that's embarrassing. That is embarrassing
It is,
to me as a
that's
taxpayer. It's embarrassing to everybody else who's got any common sense that a citizen would walk up and ask for information from a public servant and get laughed at. And so I'm sorry on behalf of all of the people in this society who think that that's just wrong. I will tell you what. When I become the county recorder, we're going to have folks on the front counters who know exactly where to find the information that people are looking for. And if they can't find it, they're going to be smart enough and well enough trained to be able to help you find it or to give you the right information. You deserve a minimum of that. You know, and let me talk a little bit about how this works, Debbie. You know, Helen Purcell runs around talking about how the recording side of the office is this big revenue generator. You know, guys like Chad file documents all the time for mortgages and all kinds of other stuff. For government agencies from other cities and counties and towns and water districts and the federal and state government file things with the county recorder's office. There's a lot of fees that are generated by this.
Yeah, it's about $36 minimum for a mortgage, and all they do is run it through a scanner.
Right, and so there's a huge profit margin here. You'd think for 1 second we would have a county recorder who would advocate for the idea of paying people to be professional, to be courteous, to engender some kind of public service at the counter, to help people like you. And I'm embarrassed for all of us that we don't have that right now. And I'll tell you what, that attitude, which is what I was talking about a little earlier, has to change, and it will change if I become the county recorder. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Debbie.
I had to deal with it twice.
Oh, geez.
Twice. That's how many times
On the
they...
phone and then I even went down.
Yeah,
So
Debbie,
it's like-
that's how many times Helen Purcell left off that city council candidate from the ballot in 2014. They left him off once, and then they reprinted the ballots for another election. They left him off again, and it took a federal lawsuit to correct that problem.
How much did that cost?
Probably,
Especially since there's a lawsuit involved.
I'm sure
Cha-ching.
yeah, federal lawsuits are very expensive. You know, it's just time for change. You know, if they can't get it right, she's been in the office since the Reagan administration.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your call, Debbie. And there you go. I appreciate that. All right. So, Adrian, you have about 2 minutes left. I will hit this for about 30 seconds, and then you can ramble on aimlessly about whatever you want to ramble on about. But as you guys have seen, mortgage rates were way worse this week. They're getting worse. I've been telling you this because we're getting close to the election. Huge volatility, but there's still time. They're still good. So you need to have me review your situation for free. Look, you know this show is called The Straight Scoop. This show is incredibly expensive to produce. Incredibly expensive. And yet I care about you guys. That's why I bring political candidates on here. I could have talked about my own mortgages and tooted my own horn for an hour, but instead I'm spending my money to let you guys have the information that you want. So here's what you do. You support me and you reward me for that. Here's my personal cell phone, 623-703-4568, 623-703-4568, or you can go to help.loans, help.loans. I'll review the situation for free. We'll see if we can save you some money and go from there. All right, Adrian. So what is your message out there, and your 1 minute message to people that are either on the fence, haven't voted, or that those really don't care about this, that they need to go vote?
Well, those of you that don't care, I haven't got much advice other than, you know, the local elections, down ballot elections, really impact you far more directly than a lot of the up ballot elections. Yeah, the presidential race is sexy and fun and sporty and disheartening sometimes, but the ones that really matter, that are going to impact you day to day, are these down ballot races. If you know someone and you heard someone about one of those stories about people standing in line, that was problematic. But we've had misspellings, we've had misinformation, we've had information left off the ballots. We didn't even talk about the security issues. I mean, foreign hackers are trying to get into your voting systems right now. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a classified materials controller. I had a secret clearance. I know how to protect information. And
where do they go to find out about you?
To find out about me, you go to electfontes.com. That's elect, F as in Frank, ONTES.com. Learn more about me, my bio and stuff, and just make sure you get out there and vote. Early voting locations, wheretovoteaz.com. Andy Wimmer gets a shout-out for putting that up on Facebook Live that we're on right now, too. electfontes.com. I really appreciate all the support we've been getting from...
And you're out of time. electfontes.com. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye. Mwah.
Thanks, Chad.
Beautiful. That went awesome. I'm proud of you. That's
Thanks,
good.
man.
When you
Good.
hear the whole thing as one giant package, it's going to be amazing.
Good. All right, so Facebook Live, we're going to go ahead and shut it down for now. Thank you so
And then
much,
you
everybody.
you can post. You will
Shave
post
later,
the link
Chad.
to the podcast, right?
We will post a link to the podcast on this towards the beginning. You want to do that? Will you take care of that, Patrick? You know how to do that?
Yeah.
All right, so Patrick here filming and doing stuff. Don't forget, Parlor Donuts, guys. And I want to shout out to Gil.
Almost every day for me, I'm just